Final hour upon us at Buffalo Wild Wings Blaine, a Vikings-heavy feast. Thank you all for joining us. Alec Lewis by my side, PA awaiting our guest, and he's coming in with a bit of an entourage, our 11 a.m. guest. We always try to, and this is a quarter century of love, whether it's in the zone, Packer preview, 3 or 4 people text asking us why we have this person on our airwaves. He's an HOF human that just happens to like a terrible team. Give Dave Sinykin your opinions on the border battle into Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that, Dave Sinykin. He plays the villain role well.
He's got a security detail.
Have you've been here for a feast when Sinykin, a border battle feast, and he shows up.
Yeah, I think so.
Look at him. Oh, the Charles Woodson jersey. Oh, it's a beautiful thing as the 6-3-1 Packers are hosting the 4-6 Minnesota Vikings at TC Head Cheese. We got previews. We got reviews. How you doing, my brother?
Good to see you, boys.
Oh, it's an awful jersey you have on. Great player.
What a warm welcome. It was beautiful.
Which Buffalo Wild Wings was that years ago when you were pelted and may have even needed medical care?
Crystal.
From mini
correct.
footballs being thrown at your head as you entered. So it was B-Dub's Crystal.
It was
years
the
ago.
Christian Ponder era, whatever years those were. That's when it happened.
So you're saying that people were throwing like Ponder and they were dramatically inaccurate and they were actually aimed for other people and hate you.
Exactly.
So that was the Josh Freeman era.
That was a short era.
Ladies and gentlemen, we didn't really get a proper reaction here, so let's try it again.
Yeah.
From the fighting city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, by way, believe it or not, of my heart, don't at me, don't at him, the host of Packer Review and Preview at TC Head Cheese via the tweet machine. Can we get a witness and a raucous round of applause or boos for David Sinykin?
There we go.
Here we go. Border battle.
Oh, I love this week. This is so great. See, I brought some muscle with me. Baby brother Dylan showed up.
That's what I was saying.
What's up, brother?
You had a security
bodyguard
detail.
action. Serves many purposes, for sure.
That was good.
What pops top ahead, Mr. Sinykin, in terms of looking forward to this border battle? Every border battle is fun. Every border battle feels important, and like snowflakes, they are constructed unique and differently.
Indeed.
What about this one?
Well, I think there's only one answer. It's the debut of 9. We get to see 9 at Lambeau Field. We
Wait,
never
so-
had a chance to see 9.
Wow, that would be your first answer? I thought it would be actually seeing the home team win a game.
That's a given.
Well,
I
that hasn't
want
happened.
to see what 9's got in store for us. 9.
What does Christian Watson have to do with anything?
Well, he's the better 9 on the field, that's for sure.
Oh, he's on the field?
Not even close. Yeah, he caught a couple touchdowns last week. I don't
Hey, breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Christian Watson is not dropping passes at U.S. Bank Stadium. He's actually playing in games.
Yeah,
Can I get a witness and a round of applause?
Our very clutch quarterback hit him with another come-from-behind game-winning touchdown
Yeah, he's good.
last Sunday.
No doubt.
You know, I was listening to you guys last segment, and my producer, Brett Blakemore, who, of course, is by our side here, sent me a great caption to tweet out, which I did. Jordan Love, when it comes to clutch, you don't think he has a clutch gene, apparently?
I don't know. He threw it to that Carolina Panther guy who dropped it. We got Dre Greenlaw. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, if you go back to 2000 and look at clutch rate among quarterbacks, it goes Mahomes, Allen, Love, Brady, Breeze.
Jeez.
When it comes to comebacks of 1 to 8 points in the fourth quarter of games, and he's only in his 3rd season as a starter.
Well, I
so you can have Love slander, but not when it comes to clutch.
Oh no, I apologize. No, he's actually top 3 when it comes to clutching his neck in pressure moments and like squeezing on it so that all of the clutch oozes out of his ears and they take out.
He already has 4 fourth quarter comebacks on the road this season.
You know what? You're getting your money. Anyway, so it's border battle. David Sinykin at TC Head Cheese via the X machine. I'm trying to tweet right now.
Oh, sorry.
So I need
don't know what I was thinking.
No, I need the co-horse to talk.
All right, go ahead, co-horse.
One thing that we've talked over the last few weeks, and specifically, it was getting hot after your squad lost to the Panthers. And it's kind of the idea, this team, this franchise, that they were kind of trying to paint the picture culturally. The Packers play down to opponents.
Yes.
And that was after, of course, what happened at Lambeau against the Panthers. So now you got people asking LaFleur in press conferences, do you believe you're coaching for your job?
Right.
So I painted kind of the picture that the fan base may be similar to the Vikings that they think they have something and they're feeling like it is an incomplete project, not getting what you want? Where's your head with all that?
I think there's a lot to that. I think there's a lot of parallels right now between the two offenses. You think you have a great play caller, but things aren't really going the way you want. I think with LaFleur, he hasn't trusted the offensive line this year. I don't think he's called the game like he wants to call the game because they haven't been able to block the running game. I heard Alec talking about it. Josh Jacobs did not forget how to run this season. They reshuffled the interior of that line. It's been a disaster. Now, Jenkins is done. They moved in Sean Ryan last week. Aaron Banks finally had a decent day after the big payday. It looked better last week, but you're playing a Giants run defense that's terrible. So we don't know if that's fool's gold. If LaFleur had confidence in that line and that running attack, nobody would be questioning his play calling. This is a dude that's winning, at a rate that few coaches have the first 7 years of his career. But it's been murky, watching this Packers offense, whether it's the line, whether it's injuries. We know about Kraft. Every wide receiver on this roster is limited in practice this week. You saw the injured list.
It's the longest injury list I've ever seen.
There's 18 players on the injured list.
It's like when you're keeping the score in baseball and you need extra innings, and it's like, I feel like they need new rows. Yeah. But no, the receiving core is an interesting conversation in its own right because, there are times where I'm watching Romeo Doubs and Dontavian Wicks, and I'm like, these guys can run routes, and Christian Watson's on the field, and he's impressive. And then there are times where you're watching them, and they're dropping passes like last week, and it feels like the inconsistency, even from that group, hasn't allowed this offense to get to a place that it might be able to get to. Am I right with that?
100%. I mean, you guys had the drops last week. The Packers did too. 4, 5, 6. Even the Packers defenders dropped 3 or 4 gift wrap potential interceptions. The offense is still working its way, and this is the key part of the Packers' season. They've only had one division game so far this season. Now they have 3 in a row, and as Alex said, Jaden Reed hopefully back in 2 weeks for the Bears. That unlocks a lot of what this offense wants to do, but they've got to be better. Jordan Love's putting the ball in their hands. They just have to catch them.
David Sinykin at TC Head Cheese. Packer Review, the podcast with a double B. Brett Blakemore. Packer Preview. Is a double B on that show, too?
He is. Of
okay.
Course. Yep.
Producing or co-hosting?
It's a producing / co-hosting vibe.
I haven't listened for 17 years.
That's all right. You're not my prime demographic. It's okay.
Box. So when we return, more analysis on this game with Cinny, and it's a border battle between the Vikings and the Green Bay Packers this weekend. We're chatting it out at Buffalo Wild Wings Blaine for the Friday football.
Go, Pack, go.
Stop peeing in my sink. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Buffalo Wild, and you're all fired up. That Joe Burrow conversation got this entire table in front of us just all fired up.
Kidding me? We got the BLs in front of us. I mean this is a good table right here.
Yeah, what I would do to have a bunch of those.
Yeah, you're either big fans of chili from Cincinnati. You're betting on the Bengals this weekend. You've waited for Joe Burrow for months to come. I don't know what this Joe Burrow adoration is in front of me, but I love him too. I think all three of us do. It's the Friday football feast at Buffalo Wild Wings Blaine. Super special Cinny is here in the business.
Now I want Skyline Chili. Just bring it up.
In the business, we call him the Sultan of Smug. And we say it rather affectionately. Yours truly as a friend who's happens to be a big fan of your work on the radio and Twitter and podcasting and all that. So therefore he follows what you do. And off some things that you said last segment, the civil servant wants me to remind you, Cinny also said against the Eagles, Love plays his best in prime time with the lights on. And how did that play out?
That wasn't ideal. That wasn't his best night.
We're going to stop right there. You know why? Because I don't like it when people pull back 3-4 weeks on something I said, just bury me with it.
That's ridiculous.
But it's the border battle. We go out of body. I mean, seriously, the Vikings cheerleaders were here for 3 minutes. They saw Brett Blakemore and left. So, I mean, it's
true.
I don't know what's happening here, but where'd y'all go?
What a stray.
He did put more points on the board than the Lions did against the Eagles. You know, that Eagles defense is legit right now.
They're so good.
Here's a text to the 64686. Cindy likes to cherry pick the good with Matt LaFleur and chooses not to mention the spots that matter most.
Wow.
LaFleur should be judged on playoff games more than anything, and they are embarrassingly bad.
Embarrassingly bad.
I don't watch them because I don't watch your playoff games. So are they?
I would not say they're
the only one I saw was against San Francisco, and LaFleur crafted things perfectly right to the end. Then Jordan decided.
So that was the year where the first year starting quarterback was on the road as an underdog and had his team
played great
with a chance to win the game in the final possession. The week previous to beating an unbeaten team at home by 1,000 points.
Right, because Aaron Jones had 3 touchdowns and kind of carried the whole thing. But anyway, go ahead.
You watch the highlights of that Cowboys game. Jordan Love looked pretty good in that game. I will take my guy 9 times out of 9 because he doesn't call himself 10. He knows who he is. He's Jordan Love.
Right.
Well, I'm kind of curious about that, though, because PA's been throwing this stat around where at this point of the season, is it just week 12 and beyond since he became a starter?
Yes.
25 touchdowns and then
one interception. Yeah.
Well, that was kind of similar last year until you got to the postseason and Jordan Love threw 3 picks in a disastrous effort, I believe, against Philly.
Are you kidding me?
I have no recollection of that game. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't mean to bring up.
When did Dre Greenlaw get traded to the Eagles? Crazy. At TC Head Cheese, Alec, please talk.
No, Alec, you guys are picking on Jordan Love against the Eagles defense, which is unbelievable.
Do you have an analytical question involving the border battle?
Yeah, I do.
Please unfurl it.
He's obviously the great football mind at this table. He picked the Packers to win the division. You know what he's talking about.
But he picked the Vikings to win this game.
No, I did not. Sorry.
To cover, perhaps. To cover.
He did.
I said it's possible. It's definitely doable.
Yeah.
My question is,
it's also possible I win on pull tabs the next time I try, but that'll be never.
Yeah. I'm curious about the secondary because entering this season, I'm like, are they really going to put this thing on Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine, and then
super special K9.
Well, I watch.
Do you want to talk cornerbacks right now? Is that really where you want to go?
No, because I'm still trying to find Keyshawn Nixon's last interception.
But here's what I'll say.
He's been very good.
Here's what I'll say. Watching the film, I'm kind of like highly impressed by this secondary and Xavier McKinney, and I actually like Evan Williams. I don't know, maybe
no, I do too.
You don't, but like, how has this secondary been as good as it's been? Because I couldn't really believe
You're telling me
I watched
you wouldn't take Isaiah Rodgers over any corner you have?
Only if he's playing the Bengals. Other than that, I'm not interested. You know,
Jake Browning in the Bengals.
You know, the big thing that's helped the secondary was, they paid all the money to Nate Hobbs, who came over from the Raiders.
Yeah, pretty good.
And thought he might be a boundary cornerback.
Inactive every week, but
he's hurt now. He's got a bad knee.
But they may move Bullard to the nickel.
Yeah, Bullard to the nickel has been a step up, and Valentine has been really good.
Bullard's played 20-some-odd games, has 0 picks. It's been great.
No, he's more of a run support guy. He's really a safety in cornerbacks' clothing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trash the defense you're going to face on Sunday too much right now, PA.
We're talking about the secondary.
Because 9 has a world of hurt in front of him against Jeff Hafley's defense, I'm afraid.
Really?
Well, I can tell you that the cork's about to come off the bottle because I heard it myself. That 9 is going to offer you something.
Thank you.
Is he?
So don't count him out.
I mean, when you face Aiden Hutchinson and you find a way to beat him on the road, holy cow! I mean, Colby Wooden. Wow! I mean, I'm shaking in my tennis shoes right now.
Well, why did you just use an edge rusher and then use a defensive tackle?
Because
that doesn't.
It's radio.
You chose the worst. That doesn't make.
I know.
I think the Packers secondary is better than the Vikings secondary.
Okay.
How can that even be debated, really, at this point? I mean, seriously.
And I'm not. That's just objective of the eval.
I'll take your linebackers.
I like our corners, but I like your safeties more. And that pains me with number 22, future HOF, and all of that. But 200th game, it ain't the 10th game anymore.
You really trust
pro safety?
You really trust K9 deeply in your heart to make the big stop at the big time one-on-one.
Keyshawn Nixon?
Yeah, it's his nickname, K9, super special.
He's been very good. Look at the pass break.
That's not my question.
Yes, I trust him against Justin Jefferson. Because we're just going to
there's zero chance he singles Justin Jefferson.
No, but we're going to just keep Nixon on the left side of the field because then we know he's not going to have to worry about anything on Sunday.
Okay, that's brilliant.
There's just no reason.
Here's a real question. The Vikings should be able to run the football.
Yes.
Why wouldn't they be able to run the football?
There we go.
No, that's the story of the game. They
Brian
absolutely
and Sarah get
have
paid.
to run the football. Look at the teams that have given the Packers trouble. Arizona ran the ball. Carolina ran the ball. The Giants ran the ball. I don't know how the Packers stopped Saquon Barkley that held him to under 3 yards a carry.
How did Judkins do against you guys in that Cleveland debacle?
Yeah, that was a triple-digit performance for the young rookie. That
was?
All coming late. I mean, we're up 10-0 with 5 minutes left in the game.
Hey.
But the run defense has been very shaky of late. It looks like Carl Brooks and Quay Walker are going to miss this game. If KOC can get it in his head that he's got to run the football and do it over and over, there could be problems for Green Bay. You can run on this team right now, and that's the recipe for an upset or a recipe for a fourth quarter in doubt is the Vikings not abandoning the run on Sunday.
Coach of the year caught a stray.
So where does that issue or where does that opportunity lie? Is it Wooden in the interior post Kenny Clark universe? You mentioned the lack of Quay and potentially Carl Brooks. Can you run at Parsons when he's in the game? Like, what are these issues? Because I'm looking at like Devontae Wyatt. I think he's evolving from somebody that's like, ooh, we drafted him too high to being a week-to-week player. Wooden stepped in earlier, a little bit of thrust on the interior from a pass rush standpoint. But where are we running the ball on you on Sunday?
Yeah, up the middle. Devontae Wyatt got off to a really good start, but he's been really quiet since coming back from his injury. Rashawn Gary is only playing half the snaps right now. Enigbari got half the snaps. So I'm not sure what's going on with Gary right now, but you can't run at Parsons. That is like slander. That is such a misnomer.
He's an all-around stuff.
He's very good in run support. But up the middle, they like Colby Wooden, but he's hit or miss. He's not consistent. Wyatt's still working his way back. The soft underbelly right now is running between the tackles, and the Green Bay's got to show they have an answer. Otherwise, you guys can control the clock. The Giants controlled the ball for 36 minutes last week and outgained Green Bay and everything because they just kept running the football to Tyrone Tracy. Yeah. Your guys' backs are a lot better than Tyrone Tracy, so Green Bay's got to have an answer for that.
Seriously speaking, trash talking aside, what does Isaiah McDuffie do well? Like, what makes him...
An Isaiah McDuffie reference, you say?
Well, no. Well, he plays a ton.
It's good.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, it's like, what does he do to merit all of that time on the field?
So what would you say you do here? That's kind of what you're saying.
He's good in run support.
He's never seen the movie Office.
He's cerebral. You know, he played for Hafley at Boston College, so Hafley's got a soft spot for Isaiah McDuffie.
So now we're playing favorites with friends.
You trust him.
That's great.
That'll go over well in the locker
Next thing you're going to ask me is if Aaron Jones is going to get into the end zone from a sentimental standpoint. Copyright KO.
You want the real answer? For me, you keep Eric Wilson and you move on from Isaiah McDuffie in the offseason because Wilson was really good for this team and didn't get the run he's getting for the Vikes. Look what he's doing, getting a chance to play full-time. McDuffie is a step back from even the aged Eric Wilson.
Crazy.
He's solid. He's nothing special. They got a kid, Tyron Hopper, in the mix, third-round pick a year ago, who's going to take his spot next year. But he's getting a lot of run. It's the last go-around for McDuffie for the Pack.
Where'd Tyrone Hopper play college? Missouri.
I knew it was SEC.
Yeah, Missouri. Yeah, it's one of our greatest talents. You gotta.
Are you a Mizzou guy?
I am.
Who is the Missouri football immortality all time?
Jeremy Macklin.
Oh yeah, pretty good.
He's up there. I don't know. Yeah. It's not exceptional. Quick question. So if they don't have Quay Walker and this is real in the weeds, and the Vikings go heavy and they try to run the ball, is it going to be Hopper, Edgerrin Cooper, and Isaiah McDuffie? Is that like the personnel?
Edgerrin Cooper's the bomb.
Cooper is the bomb.
But if you notice the change with him with Micah Parsons, I mean, it's like he had 14 TFLs last year. He has 2 this year. Sacks are down. Tackles are up. Playtime is way up.
Yeah.
It's just been something schematically has changed with him with Parsons.
I think the defense is still trying to figure out what they are with Parsons and how to best use everybody else around Parsons. The talker this week in Green Bay is nobody else is getting after the quarterback besides Micah right now. Everybody's dropped off. So if you guys put a lot of attention on one, I like to call him one.
Yeah.
As you know, they will.
So he calls himself one.
He doesn't, but I call him one.
The alter ego.
He should call himself one, but he doesn't.
It's his neurological pathway.
We need support from the other guys. Rashawn Gary's getting a lot of slander, rightfully so. He's been a no-show of late. I want to see if he responds against likely your starting 5 up front, right? The preferred starting 5. That's a big thing to have all those guys.
So. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the easiest game left on our schedule, which
come on,
it is. I mean, it's not slander.
No, likewise for us.
Packers' schedule has been light. I didn't realize how light their schedule
I know.
was.
Well, you build up this great record beating teams like Click and Carolina. I mean,
we have the same schedule the Vikings have. It's identical.
We don't play Carolina.
Yeah, but they didn't get to go to Dublin and wear England.
Yeah.
Four of your final 6 after today are division games.
Yeah,
right?
and then at Denver and Ravens at home.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me Sunday's not the easiest game left on the schedule.
That's why the Lions are going to win the division. We talked about this earlier, Cinny, the idea of if Jacobs plays or whether or not Jacobs plays.
Yeah.
How much he matters to what you want to do with Jordan, what you want to do in totality on offense. Your thoughts?
Well, he returned to practice yesterday, which I didn't expect to see. So I think that does give him a chance to play. The offense is entirely different. I like Emmanuel Wilson. Chris Brooks is going to play 30-40% of the snaps with or without Jacobs because he's the blitz guy. He's the picker-upper. If you look at the play of the game, 3rd and 10 last week,
it was a nice block.
He held off a guy for like 3 or 4 seconds. They love Chris Brooks. But the offense is not what LaFleur wants it to be if Jacobs isn't out there breaking tackles. So I'm desperately hoping he plays on Sunday.
Jordan Love needed 4 seconds to make a 50-50 throw to a guy in the clutch.
He had to have time to tell him to go deep. He needed that time for the hand gestures.
Okay, in closing, I need help with this. Because I wasn't quite familiar with this guy until I started getting over to TCOPC this week. Savion Williams. Savion Williams. Tell me about Savion Williams. I've heard his name a lot at the old Vikings facility.
3rd round pick out of TCU.
You said, better than Marcus Golden already.
Well, Matthew Golden will probably get his
Marcus Golden played at Mizzou.
That's why he said it.
I was just looking at that name when looking for Missouri players.
Yeah, that's one of those mental pathway switch-ups.
Cantrell Brothers, Missouri's finest.
He had to play a bunch of Wildcat quarterback his last year at TCU, which really hurt his draft stock because nobody really knew if he was a legit receiver because he was carrying the ball so much. So he's become kind of this gadget play guy. They like to put the ball in his hands. But he's had a couple of miscues of late. The trust level's gone down. That's why it was so surprising to see him going deep on a big play on 3rd down and coming down with it. He's big. He's like 6'3", 200 pounds. He can run like the wind. A lot of upside, but they haven't trusted him as just a typical wide receiver running routes. But with all the guys banged up, he's getting a shot, although he was in a walking boot 2 hours before kickoff last week, coming off the bus, and still was able to play and make a big play. So they like him. This felt like a redshirt year for him, but with all the injuries, he's had to step up and play a bit.
Matthew Golden is part of that conversation. 1st-round pick. Everyone, they finally did it. What do you think?
I want to see some more targets thrown his way. You know, he's getting like 2-3 targets a game. He's dealing with a bad shoulder. Interestingly, remember college last year? This time of year, nobody really knew who he was at Texas. It was like the last few games, he exploded onto the scene. So I guess we're kind of hoping history repeats as the schedule kind of winds down to the big games. Matthew Golden becomes a bigger part of this offense.
My man, great seeing you, and best of luck to your team this weekend.
23-19.
23. I'm going to say
Vikings cover.
It'll be
Vikings cover.
17-9. Perfect. All right, good seeing you. All right,
perfect.
David Sinykin, border battle. Come on now, give him a round of applause.
Go, Pack. Go.
He drove all the way here from his hometown of Fridley. So give him a round, or is it Andover? Give him a round of applause. David Sinykin, final segment next. All righty. Thank you very much for coming out to Buffalo Wild Wings Blaine for the Friday football feast. We feast next Friday, day after Thanksgiving, at Buffalo Wild Wings Mall of America. Big day for KFAN, at least the first 2 radio shows at Mall of America with the wildly successful, highly touted and popular Power Trip Morning Show. They'll be there 7 to 9 in the Rotunda. Power Trip, Corey Cove, Saucy, Seahawk, and a bunch of ancillary players. They like the Pips, and those 3 would be the Gladys Knight. They'll be at the Rotunda 7 to 9 next Friday for the Power Trip football feast, and 9 to noon is at Buffalo Wild Wings Mall of America for the Friday football feast next Friday in front of the game against the Seattle Seahawks. Now, Alec Lewis is he's nice enough to send us what's known as a doc. It's a document with a bunch of thoughts on the upcoming game.
Nordo printed it out.
Previous games and things like that. Alec's Doc Dynamics were chock full of a bevy of pertinent nuggets into this weekend's game. So pertinent, indeed. Nordo printed them out in areas.
Yeah, I wanted to start here, and I love the way you write them, by the way. Vulgarities and such aside, upsetting my Midwestern sensibilities. I wanted to talk about the tight ends. We mentioned Tucker Kraft out of the mix. Not sure what they're getting or will ever get out of Musgrave from a pass-catching perspective. But it's one thing we've talked about multiple times this year, plays into O-line combos and just success, is we've seen offenses going heavy against us at times. It can be Mount Washington with the Steelers, Fred Johnson with the Eagles, obscure tight end, you name it, and they make plays against us in the run blocking scheme, and also you can find them leaking out. What do they do from a tight end perspective and the potential of them going heavy and us having to match that?
Yeah, well, the Vikings have done a much better job against these looks. They haven't been perfect against them. Like, there have been times where the Ravens and the Bears were able to run the football. But the Vikings are now, they'll put 4 defensive linemen on the field and really run like a 6-1 front where it's like, all right, you're not running the football in these looks. The Packers will do everything. They will go 3 tight ends with John Fitzpatrick, Josh Wiley, and Luke Musgrave. They will go jumbo with this guy, Darian Kennard, who they'll bring in. So they do everything, and I expect them to try to force the Vikings to be able to stop it. I feel much better right now than I did a month and a half ago about the Vikings' ability to stop it because they've made the adjustments. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the Packers try to run the football in this game, especially if Josh Jacobs doesn't play.
I'm curious to see how this game is officiated. And here's why. Because I don't generally share this on Fridays, but I'm not told I can't. It's just I like to save it for Sundays. The referee this weekend is Carl Sheffers. Okay, the Sheffers staff calls the what's funny?
Every time
I just hear Sheffers and Bill Vinovich. I just love the way you say it.
Sheffers, his group calls the second most penalties of all the crews in the NFL.
Great.
They call the most offensive holding of all the officiating crews, second most defensive pass interference, and the most for defensive holding. They've called 24 defensive pass interference. That is so by far clear of the pack.
It's actually interesting.
So, I mean, but think about it. It's, Love, more of a veteran than McCarthy. McCarthy ain't afraid to throw. The coach isn't afraid to throw the quarterback. And then you got all the Sheffers intel here. So, what do you guys think?
No, I mean, that probably in many ways helps the Vikings out. I mean,
I kind of thought that too.
It's going to be harder probably for Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine to stay with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison than the other way around. Speaking of Jordan Addison, it really would be nice, as much as you want to see Justin Jefferson get going, with the connection that J.J. McCarthy had with Jordan Addison in training camp, it really would be nice to see Jordan Addison just rip a bunch off on, especially if the Packers are loading up on Justin this weekend. So, no, that's interesting. Carl Sheffers, just every time I hear his name or see him, I just think we're going to be like, it's going to be some fluidity, and then there's going to be stoppages, and that's I don't know.
4-hour game though, but
if that helps the team, great.
I would say this. I mean, we've talked about lack of identity and maybe at times lack of discipline. I mean, the biggest issue for the Vikings penalty wise has been the pre-snap, and it's been that. So as long as you're not telling me that Sheffers calls the most false starts or the most illegal formation penalties, I tend to agree. I think that that is actually a feather in the cap potentially of the purple. Now, speaking of feathers and caps, I'd like to see balls in our possession. Wait, hold on.
Wait, it's not 12:01 in the side score.
Speaking of feathers and caps, I'd like to see
that was an awful transition, and that's my fault. How are we going to turn this kid over? Stats playing into what PA was saying: 25 touchdowns, 1 pick for Jordan Love. This team finding takeaways, and in post games we can talk about the ball bouncing one way or the other, and we're just inches away from the tip pass becoming a basket catch pick. It's not happening, and this is playing into the L's. How do we turn these guys over?
Yeah, you can't let him sit back there and just pick you apart. And they will do a lot of quick game stuff, out routes where he's pretty good.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of instances where if he's moved off his spot, he's trying to create. He does a good job creating, but that's usually where the errors come, and he'll try to get aggressive down the field. So I would expect Brian Flores, the last few times they've played, has brought extra pressure.
Yeah.
Now, he's needed to because the Vikings didn't have great interior pass rushers. So how he tries to go about it is going to be interesting. And then, again, it's like Javon Hargrave, Jalen Redmond, Jonathan Allen. These guys need to be able to give it to this interior offensive line. And I don't see a reason why they can't, just given the talent.
Because they've been inconsistent with it all year.
They have been. I feel like Jalen Redmond's been the most consistent.
Right.
Javon Hargrave of late.
Nordo's crying for the return of Kairos Tonga. I mean, it got to that point.
Kairos Tonga, Jonathan Bullard, Jerry Tip. No. But extra pressure probably. And then, I mean, Sinykin was talking about it, but Brian Flores has done a great job of Brian Flores has done a great job of making these opposing running backs pass protect.
Yeah.
So if it's Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks, you got to make sure they stand in there against Eric Wilson, and nobody really has proven they can do that. So doesn't
that help mitigate their ability to run too? Because we saw that in the win at Ford Field, where I mean we're all oohing and eyeing over Jahmyr Gibbs every single week. He's an absolute game-changing back. But when he was forced to stand in there and keep Goff upright, Gibbs had one of the least productive games of his career, and you get to Goff 5 times in the process. If you are worried, whether it's Jacobs or whoever else, Wilson and Brooks, the ability to continue to deploy Eric Wilson the way they have, along with getting more from our interior, I think that could be an A topic.
No question. And that's one way to get Jordan Love off his spot, if Eric Wilson just flying, through the middle. But I'm serious. If Jordan Love has time to just sit back there and pick you apart over the middle of the field against wide zone, big zones and coverage, he will do that. The last thing I'll say, and this is very in the weeds, last year, week 17, the Vikings threw a major curveball at Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love by playing man coverage like 40% of the game.
Yeah.
LaFleur said after the game he didn't expect that.
Remember when LaFleur ran 15 yards out on the field and Vinovich gave him an unsportsmanlike conduct because Matt threw one of his patented temper tantrums?
And he can do that. But I would say seeing that last year, week 17, would make me believe that the Packers are going to enter this game with a lot of ability to be versatile, knowing that Brian Flores is probably going to throw a curveball.
The theme and the explosion of this defense, though, I mean, we're talking, it's 2 full seasons now, and in 3 of those 4 games, Flores has found his way to the QB. I mean, I think it's 8 sacks, it's 4 or 5 picks. It's like a 9-4 or 9-5 ratio. So that's kind of where my faith lies in this game. I mean, we talked about the simplicity of it. Don't give it to the other team. You got a chance to win. My faith in this game and the ability for the upset is Flores just making their day as sloggy and slow as possible.
The formula for this game is to apply the formula that we all thought prior to the season this team was going to have to lean on.
To do the thing they're not doing?
Run the football.
Oh, no.
And play defense and be really playmaking on defense. You do those 2 things, the Vikings can very, very much win this game. There's no doubt. And I say this all the time. Like in college football, sometimes the spreads become 28, 35. So that, but in the NFL, it's a 6-point spread. It's a very winnable game as long as those 2 things happen. Run the football, turn the ball over defensively.
Thank you very much for coming out to Buffalo Wild Wings. Blaine, ladies and gentlemen, for the Friday Football Feast. Alec Lewis, The Athletic, theathletic.com. Give thanks and subscribe. Nordo, Eric Nordquist, producer, 9 to do. J-Dub, Jared Wells, ladies and gentlemen, can I get a witness? Mick Madden and the street team, can I get multiple witnesses? Devin Ward never gets to be here, but he's good at what he does. And I'm Paul Allen. Chat with you Sunday at noon for the boom from Lambeau Field. Later.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.